Please welcome Kamal.
So, I'll start with my own story. I'm Komal, I'm a South Asian woman. I was born and raised in Pakistan, and the first time I ever lived outside my country was in the US for an exchange semester during my undergrad. 4 years ago, I moved to Canada, and Toronto became home. The biggest difference I've noticed after moving to North America has been in terms of my mobility. The ability, access, safety, and freedom to go wherever I wanted and whenever I felt like it. All I had to do was walk or take a train or a bus. Sometimes it can be a little scary to be out walking in Toronto after midnight, but it's never impossible. In contrast, this is what my mobility looked like in Pakistan. Car was my best or mostly my only option. I don't even want to talk about the road rage and the driving ethics in people. I could still be out after midnight in Pakistan because my parents weren't as restrictive as most are in Pakistan, but only if I had a car or someone to drive me back home. Now you're thinking, it's safe in a car. I want to tell you, it's never safe enough in Pakistan. Every now and then, I would have men following my car, and I would hear nerve-wracking stories of women being raped, harassed, and kidnapped, even in their closed, safe cars. You're thinking it's a bleak possibility. How can someone be kidnapped in a car? Just keep driving straight, don't stop. A few years ago, my friend's sister was driving late at night, and she came to a rather empty road. She realized someone was following her. So she sped up her car, and they sped up too, and they stopped right in front of her, leaving her with no option but to crash into theirs or stop. Of course, she stopped. The guys came out with guns in their hands and forced her to come out of her car. The rest I'll say is an awful story that I'd rather not share. All I can say is she was lucky they let her go at the end. So now I'm guessing you will never think about traveling to Pakistan. I've really shown you the worst image of mobility. But let me tell you one thing. Things are not always worst case scenarios, and there's never one story. There are women in Pakistan like Taiba Tariq. She's a motorcyclist, and she has an academy where she teaches other women how to ride a motorbike. All these women ride motorbikes in the same city where it can be unsafe even in a car. There are strong women who run in communities like Girls at Dhabas. They organize bike rallies, they organize events to own public spaces, talks, discussions, and basically trying to build that women supporting other women network. Mobility in Pakistan is not a single narrative. And mobility for women is also not a single narrative. It's a sum of many narratives and many issues. And the way we can address it is by breaking it down into smaller issues and then designing contextual, concrete, tangible solution. Chris talked a lot about concrete and contextual solutions. So 2 years ago, Dr. Andree Woodcock from Coventry University brought us together, 6 professionals from fields of ergonomics, urban design, architecture, design thinking, UX research. We're all from different parts of the world, and we came together to work on the WeMobile project. It was funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council, and together, through this research project, we wanted to understand what are the barriers women face in their mobility in 3 countries, Pakistan, Malaysia, and UK. How is it different, and how it impacts their lives? We used autoethnography, participatory co-design, and surveys to collect data and to collect all these narratives. Before I say something, I want to just give you an overview of these countries. Pakistan has the highest population, Malaysia has the lowest female population, and UK, Well, it has a higher female population, but they're still struggling with gender pay gap issues and gender inequality. Talking about gender, the Global Gender Gap Report by World Economic Forum points out that Pakistan was the second last in the list for 4 consecutive years. And the labor force participation, well, it's low in all three countries, but it's the lowest in Pakistan at 24%, mere 24%. On the bright side, UK has seen an increase over time, and now the female participation is at 72% compared to 80% that of men. So our journey started with my hometown, Lahore, in Pakistan. And if you guys remember, in the beginning, I was telling you about these two sides of narrative of the country. The same is true from Lahore. It's a city of contrast. On the one side, you will meet women who can't leave their houses without permissions from their husbands, families, parents, in-laws. And on the other side, you will meet women like me who move to foreign countries without needing permission, instead getting both financial and emotional support to do so. The two biggest challenges women face in Pakistan in terms of mobility are safety and harassment and socio-cultural barriers. All experiences weren't as sad as the stories I shared earlier. We got to enjoy some of the different sides of culture there as well. We conducted a World Cafe there, bringing together women from different backgrounds, industries, economic backgrounds. And then we also hosted a panel discussion which had representation from government, private, civic, and public sector. You know when people say every picture has a story? This picture has a very interesting story. So we were walking around Pakistan, Lahore, and it got pretty late. And we decided, let's head back home. The moment we said that, there was a power outage. It went really dark. We all freaked out. My brother and I freaked out way more because we had these white people and foreigners visiting our country, and we didn't want anything to go wrong. So we quickly ordered like 2 Uber cars, and one of them canceled last minute. And now we had 1 Honda and 6 of us. And without thinking about anything, we shoved ourselves in. There's one interesting thing about Pakistan. It gives you a lot of wiggle room in situations. And for once, we could really use it to our benefit. So we looked at the driver who said, I can't take more than 4 people. And we said, hey, listen, you gotta just drive us back home. Come on, we have these guests with us. And so that nice guy drove us back and saw the happy faces. Dr. Dina set up her own mission in these 3 countries. She decided she's gonna take a picture at different bus stops in all 3 countries and see how she feels. I don't know if it's clear, but she wasn't that happy here. She felt really unsafe and conscious of standing there, and I'm sure if the camera person wasn't there, she wouldn't dare standing alone. I want to share the story of Tehmina. Sorry, I don't have the permission to share the real name or the face, but this is a true story. Tehmina is an engineer and a marketer. Growing up, Tehmina always had to consider permission issues when she was offered, like, let's say, a singing opportunity in a band after school, or a dramatics club inviting her to be a part of it. Her parents wouldn't permit her to be outside school if it wasn't for studies. Religious reasons, safety concerns, or sometimes that good girls don't stay out late. Later, she got admission in a very prestigious university and was graduated really well, and she got an offer from Schlumberger. Let me tell you something. Only a few people in Pakistan get an offer in Schlumberger right after graduation. Fortunate for most, unfortunately for her, the job involved a lot of domestic and international travel. Of course, she didn't get the permission. Even at age 21, she had to consider permission issues. She couldn't disobey her parents or move out like women do here, because that's not a choice a lot of women in Pakistan have. She gave up that offer, and ultimately, she had to change the course of her career. There are many stories like Tehmina, not just in Pakistan, but around the world. And what stories like these tell us as an insight about mobility is that transportation, and infrastructure would not improve the mobility of those needing permission to travel, face hostility and harassment, and are tied down by social culture barriers. So our next stop was Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. How many of you have been to Malaysia? Okay, I see a couple. Um, Malaysia is a beautiful blend of different cultures. It's home to three largest ethnicities: Malay, Indian, Chinese. And you'll see this contrast. On one side, women walking in hijab and all covered, and on the other side, some women riding a bike in shorts. So this is my brother and also my project partner, Punal. This was his first plane ride, and we didn't quite have a very nice and smooth ride. So that's why the image is that way. There was this one moment where it was really bad, and he turned around and said, "Well, we're talking about mobility. It's been real. Goodbye, sister." We did land up all right in one piece. But I came across this signage in one of the buses, which got me really thinking. Why does the pregnant woman has like lines coming out of her, like the baby is about to pop out? Why does the old person sit all hunched and sad, but the disabled person is like laid back and chill? I've been thinking about this. There were a lot of ladies-only compartments in Malaysia and segments in the station. And to be honest, in the beginning, we were really confused. Where do we stand? Where do we get in? But when we did manage to go into a ladies-only compartment, it felt kind of nice. I mean, having your own little space, feeling comfortable. If you remember this image of Dina, it was really sad. This time, Dina was pretty happy. She was also wearing the local Malay dress here. We conducted focus groups in Kuala Lumpur as well, and we brought together representation from different industries, different economic backgrounds, also from policy making sector and government and private sector. Two of the biggest challenges women face in terms of mobility in Malaysia are accessibility and infrastructure issues. And as you can see, Dina was trying to experience this. When you heard me talk about the two biggest challenges in both Pakistan and Malaysia, you would have noticed I didn't wrap them up into one bigger problem or one narrative. It's because they're not the same. What happens is policymakers or change makers think about improving mobility for women in low middle income countries, and they think all of them face the same problem, let's design one solution that fits all, and boom. Of course, it doesn't work. It's because female immobility in different low middle income countries has dissimilarities, surprise. Unlike what most people believe. They think it's all the same and it's going to be for everyone. Yes, they're similar, but they're not the same, especially in terms of the severity, extent, and priority. Our last stop was to Coventry, UK. Coventry is a small city with big dreams, history and modernization coming together. It's experimenting with a lot of places and where they're experimenting with signal-free zones and communal spaces. And there's a lot of artwork. We did try to find the two sides of women, but you can see it was a bit of a challenge. But really, the idea of UK comes from London, one of the major cities of the world, such a hustle bustle going on, women walking in heels and sneakers, some running with their suitcases, some running with their kids, some driving. I was really excited to be there, especially this King Cross station was like, wow, amazing. Wasn't excited after some time because I couldn't find my way around. It was such a huge station and I couldn't, I was running from one place to another. I got a ticket from Euston Station to go to Coventry, and I went to one train, found out it was a wrong train, went to another train that actually had a board saying going to Coventry, figured out wrong train from my ticket, ultimately found the train, and then my cousin was running around. She's like, oh, you know what? You gotta move to the next compartment because this train is gonna split. So I literally ran 5 seconds before the train started to that compartment. And so when I did end up in the train, I was still excited, but wasn't sure if it'll take me to Coventry. One interesting thing that kept happening was Google Maps. Oftentimes, we'd search stations near me in London, and it'll show stations 20 minutes walk away or something. And we'd ask around, and stations would be like 2 buildings away. We asked people, it's like, does it keep happening? Is it something common? And they're like, yeah, people feed all kind of data. Don't listen to it too much. Interesting. These two things, favorite things on the subway stations. The way out sign, super, super helpful when you want to find your way out of a big, huge station. The help point, honestly, I never used it, and I don't even know if it worked. But it was so comforting to see this, as if I'll never get lost. There'll be someone who'll help me find my way out. We didn't only experience Coventry, on foot or using different modes of transportation. We also used this one kit which disabled our senses so that we could empathize with elderly and disabled people. And this was a life-changing experience because it gave us so many different perspectives. For me, I realized I could adapt really fast when my senses were disabled, which gave me a lot of confidence about life. And for most of us, we just kind of went really quiet, like just trying to figure out what world are we in, what just happened. We also found some rare artifacts on the street near Coventry. Truly a mix of history and modernization, I guess. And all in all, we were really happy. I was kind of more excited than the rest, as you can see. But what this made us question was how the life of women in UK is different compared to the other two countries. And does mobility have any role to play in this? Before I tell you what we found, I want to ask you guys, how many of you have lived in or moved from low-middle income countries? Okay, we have a few here. Okay, so those of you who have, did you notice any difference in terms of improvement in mobility or its impact on your life after moving to North America? I see some faces, some heads nodding. Okay. What we found was mobility is not just about ability or access to commute or travel. It is way bigger than that. It's independence. It's a sense of empowerment. It's about getting more opportunities. And in short, it's the ability to achieve desired aims in life. For women, it is empowering. It can be life-changing. And so, mobility is a wicked problem. What I mean by that is, it's not one problem. It's a sum of many problems interlinked together, and there is no linear solution. The only way forward from us is that we break it down into smaller issues and design solutions which are contextual, tangible, and concrete. And I want to share a few examples with you before I end this. In Nara, Japan, the police installed these blue lights, and what they found was the number of crimes decreased by 9%. Now that is a concrete, tangible solution for safety and harassment incorporated into infrastructure. If you remember this story, what if Lahore had solar-powered blue lights installed? Our experience would have been so much different. In Berlin, the public transport offered a 21% discount for women in one day, raising voice against the gender pay gap, the 21% gender pay gap. And as a researcher, it makes me think, can solutions like these encourage women in low-middle income countries to use more public transport or you own public spaces? Something to consider. This is an app called Safety Pin, launched in India. And what it does is any woman can rate the place and share her feelings about different places. So the data is accumulated by the app, and every area has a safety score. Women can see that safety score and find safe routes. If you remember the story of my friend's sister, she could have really used this app. This is a concrete solution, a tangible and contextual solution for women trying to find safe routes. And so to wrap it all up, as I have been repeatedly saying this, there is no one narrative, and mobility is a sum of many narratives and many issues. The only way forward, we deconstruct these issues to design contextual, concrete, and tangible solutions. And we as researchers have a huge role to play in this. Thank you.